We have now reached Chapter 7, Statement of Assurance. In this chapter, we'll explore the critical aspects of assurance in the context of sustainability disclosures. As we delve into this topic, let's understand the two dimensions of assurance: reasonable versus limited assurance. Reasonable assurance involves the assurance provider minimizing engagement risk to an acceptable low level. This forms the basis for their conclusion, expressed as an opinion on the measurement or evaluation of the subject matter against criteria. On the other hand, limited assurance is when the assurance provider accepts a higher level of risk compared to reasonable assurance engagements. The procedures in limited assurance are less extensive than in reasonable assurance, but still aim to obtain a level of assurance considered meaningful by the assurance provider. Now let's compare internal review by an internal auditor versus independent assurance. Firstly, it's important to note that having internal and/or independent assurance is vital for enhancing transparency pertaining to the credibility of sustainability disclosures. Listed issuers should consider subjecting their sustainability statements to an assurance process as they mature in their sustainability practices and data collection processes. An internal review would be undertaken by the listed issuer's internal audit function, while independent assurance involves engaging third-party professionals to provide an external opinion on the subject matter being assured. Ideally, listed issuers should start with an internal review of their sustainability statement. Once they are more comfortable, key indicators that are considered material to the listed issuer or its stakeholder should undergo independent assurance. Finally, as listed issuers advance in their reporting journey, they should subject their entire sustainability statement to an independent assurance process. This ensures that the disclosures made within the sustainability statement are accurate and complete. Next, it is important for listed issuers to disclose the coverage of their sustainability statement subjected to assurance. While there are currently no mandatory requirements for subjecting sustainability statements to an assurance process, listed issuers should strive to do so as a best practice. However, listed issuers are required to include a statement of assurance affirming whether their sustainability statement has been subjected to an assurance process. This enhances transparency regarding the credibility of their sustainability statements. As mentioned earlier, listed issuers are highly encouraged to subject their complete sustainability statement to an assurance process over time. Lastly, let's discuss the disclosures pertaining to the statement of assurance. In the event that the sustainability statement has not undergone an assurance process, the listed issuer only needs to provide a statement to that effect. However, if a listed issuer's sustainability statement has been subject to an assurance process, the listed issuer must then disclose key areas, including the type of assurance, subject matter, and the scope of the assurance process. Firstly, it is important to disclose whether the sustainability statement underwent an internal review by the listed issuer's internal auditor and/or an independent assurance following recognized assurance standards. Next, the identification of narratives or information in the sustainability statement subject to assurance is crucial. This involves ensuring that the subject matter is identifiable and capable of consistent evaluation or measurement. Additionally, there should be enough information or procedures to gather sufficient and appropriate evidence supporting a reasonable assurance or limited assurance conclusion as deemed appropriate. Lastly, the boundary of the subject matter covered in the assurance process should be disclosed. For independent assurance, a conclusion by the assurance provider must also be disclosed within the statement of assurance. As shown on the screen, we have illustrated how a listed issuer can subject parts of their sustainability statement to internal review and independent assurance. For more guidance on different approaches taken for a listed issuer's assurance process, please refer to our third edition of the Sustainability Reporting Guide, where we explore various scenarios. And now, let's address some frequently asked questions to clarify common concerns. The first question is the statement of assurance mandatory for all listed issuers? As mentioned earlier, disclosure of the statement of assurance is mandatory for all listed issuers. However, undergoing an assurance process, whether internal review or independent, is not mandatory but strongly recommended as a matter of best practice. Following that, we have also received inquiries on whether is it a requirement to subject the entire sustainability statement to an assurance process? If not, what aspects should be subjected to assurance? We discussed earlier that listed issuers should strive to eventually subject their entire sustainability statement to an independent assurance process. However, depending on the listed issuer's maturity in reporting, they should begin with an internal review of entire sustainability statement and then progress to external assurance for certain key indicators first before undertaking an independent review for the entire sustainability statement. For main market-listed issuers, the Statement of Assurance is mandated to be disclosed by financial year-end 31st December 2023. Meanwhile, ACE market-listed corporations are mandated to disclose by financial year-end 31st December 2025. The third question is there any specific standard or framework preferred for assurance? As stipulated, the recognized assurance standards are the International Standard on Assurance Engagements, known as the ISAE 3000 or ISO, which stands for the International Organization for Standardization. Lastly, there were also concerns about whether the internal assurance be done by other departments besides the Internal Audit Department. As stipulated under the listing requirement, if a listed issuer subjects its sustainability statement to an internal review, it should be conducted by its internal auditor. As we conclude, let's summarize the key takeaways from each section. It is important to recognize the significance of both internal and independent assurance in enhancing the credibility of a listed issuer's sustainability disclosures. Whether a listed issuer has undertaken an assurance process or not, this must be disclosed in its sustainability statement to promote transparency. We strongly encourage listed issuers to carefully consider and disclose the details of the assurance process undertaken and its outcomes in their statements. This should include the type of assurance, subject matter, and the scope of the assurance process. By integrating assurance, listed issuers can strengthen their commitment to sustainability and at the same time ensure compliance with Bursa requirements. Thank you for joining us for Chapter 7 of our Sustainability Explainer. Stay tuned for the last chapter where we will cover TCFD-aligned disclosures.